Good morning, good evening, and good night. Recently, and I mean like almost a month ago, a teaser for Wave 6 of the Booster Course Pass released. With this teaser for it, including everyone's beloved Peachette, Wave 6 is getting closer and closer. Meaning I have less and less time for this video I have been procrastinating for a long time. No, I'm not kidding, I've been doing it since August. So in today's video, after all of this time, all of this speculation, and everyone else's, I will have my most probably final Wave 6 predictions of the Booster Course Pass. Here is a side note that my previous upload has actually discussed what I think the remaining routes could be for the cities and cove, so you can go check that out. However, do it after watching the video. In here I will include almost everything related to it, which is unknown, such as the release date, the courses, shocker, the CNSWS, and even if Wave 6 could secretly add something new, such as the custom items. So do you guys think you will agree with these predictions, or not? Watch to find out. I will start discussing with the release date, then the courses with the CNSWS, and finally a secret surprise they may add. So let's figure out what Wave 6 South release date could be. Now Wave 6 South release date really is a heated debate in the community. In fact, a lot of people have came up with one date, which looks to be likely. However, I have found some evidence which could actually point to a later release date. And after searching for very, and I mean very long, looking at all possibilities and outcomes, I have came up with this. Unlike some people are with the 8th or 9th, what I am confident in is something after Mario RPG specifically, but not later than the 7th of December. Also, I am going to get a bit nerdy here, so be prepared. Now first I'm gonna go off my gut and say they won't repeat days that have already had release dates, so eliminating the 18th, 4th, 7th, 9th, and 12th. And if we're going off of trailer dates, for trailers, I'm eliminating 9th, 28th, 21st, 2nd, and the 6th. Keep in mind the releases and trailers are separate categories. Trailers have always been on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, so we will eliminate every other day. Now the reason why I chose November and December for this is that nothing else makes sense. December, only after when Wave 3 released, is way too late for Wave 6, especially when each of the waves have released earlier than their counterpart, and October is too early. Another reason it could be late December is especially when they advertised it as holidays. However, there are two more key points which can help us a lot with the release date. First of all, something helping us narrow it very easily. Now before the 1000-year door announcement in the Direct, they showed some games, and these were in order: Wonder after this, WarioWare after this, vice versa. However, they interestingly showed Wave 6 after Mario RPG. And I doubt they do this just to put it before it as a troll thing. Okay, sure. In another Direct they showed this game before Mario Maker 2. However, that was only in that one Direct. It has not happened at all now. Now, this can very easily help narrow it down to this. Another point is Black Friday, which is the 24th of November, which can hold very easy advertisements to Wave 6. Therefore, it would release near that. Now for the reason I chose the trailer to be the 24th of -1 as well. Okay, just look closely. As you have seen what I've shown at the beginning of this part of the video, I made this table. Now let's look for a trailer spot which can fit. None of the red, green, yellow, purple, or pink ones would fit. If you are wondering why, just look at the captions. So now we are left with these squares a trailer could fit on. Not too late since that's reserved for December, leaving us with only the 24th, 29th, the 30th of November, the 1st, and the 8th of December. Now we have to leave something, which is a week or two, to land on a release date. So let's jump with the dates we have. I'm eliminating the 1st as the trailer, since it jumps us to the 8th of December, which I feel is too late. December 8th jumps us to the too late category, so that's a no. Now for the trailer dates, we have navigated it to a whopping 3. The 29th November jumps us to the 6th of December. The 30th jumps us to the 7th, and the 24th jumps us to the 1st. As for the one I'm choosing, in the end I predict Wave 6 of the Booster Course Pass is going to have its trailer on the 24th of November as well as a release date on the 1st of December. Oh my god, how long did this whole part take me? Depending on how long this part is, I may make it a separate part. So see you in the future if this is a separate video or stays in my Wave 6 predictions. Assuming it stays, let's talk about the Acorn Cup and what could be in it. So let's start now. Now the first track of the Acorn Cup is going to be a tour city for obvious reasons. Every single cup in the Booster Course Pass has began with a Mario Kart Tour City, also known as the Mario Kart Tour tracks containing a tour prefix. According to the prefix leak, we have two Mario Kart Tour City tracks left for Wave 6. And would you look at that, Tour also has 2, and is no longer getting new content. So with this, it is very safe to assume either Madrid Drive or Rome Avanti is starting the Acorn Cup. Now this has been something I have primarily sticked on one side for a long time. At first, when I did not look that deep into the cities, I had Rome in the Acorn with Madrid in the Spiny. Keep in mind Madrid was not released yet. Then I figured Rome is ambitious and had it in the Spiny for a very long time, even extending up to late September. Even with all the Madrid versus Rome debates, I stuck with the Rome Spiny gang. However, on the 29th of September 2023, I took a turn to the dark, no pun intended, to the Rome Acorn team. Now although I still want it to be in the Spiny, I think it's more likely as the Acorn opener. Now to the Rome Spiny believers, may I please ask you to get out my house for like a minute and hear me out. Now typically in the booster course pass, the second city in the wave tends to be more unique than the first with roads. The only exception to this is Wave 1. But with how different Paris works in no universe, does it make sense not to be the first? And Tokyo does not fit anywhere after Wave 1. Sydney Sprint has lots of unique areas, Berlin and London, although both being road. Lap 3 of Berlin is very unique, Bangkok has unique areas, and all areas of Los Angeles laps are unique. Now do you imagine them putting a random city, which is primarily streets with only buildings, standing out with a bland park, a single unique section, some tight turns, after a city which has so many unique things like Goomba shoes, wigglers, a whole stadium, a whole plaza, a museum, and a train station? It may seem like I am cherry picking, but it is sort of the truth. No guys, I do not hate Rome. And the only spiny aspect Rome even does have is the chain chomp area and difficulty. To counter argument that Amsterdam Drift, which arguably is the hardest wave for track, if not second, was the first track of the wave, not to mention it acts as the Shell Cup opening a new row, and for the chain chomp area, that's the thing. That is the literal only aspect Rome has. Even then it lasts like 2 seconds and is only in 1 lap of the course. And as we have seen, Nintendo takes presentation in the later city by putting the more unique city after. As for the route, I will predict a simple one. Lap 1 and 2 would be slightly altered, so you can do 2 and 3 instead of their reverse variants. Check my video, which was uploaded previously, for more information. And that's it for the first track of the Acorn Cup. As for what I think its CNSW is, I predict it is CNSW 54. I know I was just talking about how it makes no sense to be the one in the Spiny compared to Madrid. However, if I were to be fair, Rome is more cup ender material than Madrid. In this scenario, Rome just does not fit as a U5 opener either. Plus, if Madrid starts off what was the original Feather Cup, it will go from day to night, which is cool. And considering the original plan was a rough basis, I do not think this is impossible. Onto the second track of the Acorn Cup. Now for the second track of the Acorn Cup, I have had this as a single track for a very long time. Now the second track of each wave has normally been the most simple or the most easy one. And looking at what everybody expects the Wave 6 lineup to be, most if not next to everyone predicts the second track of the Acorn is Daisy Circuit. Now by the trailer footage, Daisy Circuit is shaping up to be a fun track with its turns and especially the music. Its sunset atmosphere with the statues is also cool, and I will probably have lots of fun with this track judging by the trailer. Oh yeah, and I will totally definitely especially have fun with Peachette. Anyways, for this CNSW, I'm dedicated on 166. Now I could go into more detail about this, but to summarize it, no other CNSW makes sense. Scrapping a city as well. Come on, I think we all have an IQ above 5. Same case with a Nitro when the point of the booster course pass is preserving tours content. The SNS prefix makes no sense to scrap, when there would only be one SNS track in the whole booster course pass, and for 68. Do you think they would originally end the whole game with Daisy Circuit? It is not like it could not swap with 3D's Rainbow Road, because Wave 3 originally did not even have a Wii track. And we can all agree a Rainbow Road taking you through space, planets is way better than a track with some U-turn and a shortcut to roundabouts. Some turns, and whoops, a lap is already done. Anyways, you guys can probably now tell why I only think it will replace AGCN. As for why specifically 66 and not 56, I will tell you guys in the next track, which we should move on to. For the third track, or penultimate of the Acorn Cup, I have also been very confident in this placement, and I believe if this track comes, this is basically its only viable option to be here. Being in Wave 6 to me is probably also its best spot considering its atmosphere, and well, what it is. If you guys somehow have not picked it up yet, it is DK Mountain. Although I vastly prefer Dino Jungle, I sadly think that DK Mountain is more likely for the booster course pass. Now yes, each have their advantages and disadvantages, but in the end DK Mountain has a better ratio. First of all, there is one point which grants DK Mountain a huge advantage over Dino Jungle. And funnily enough, it's literally just being a fan-favorited course. Each wave has always had at least 2 fan favorites, sometimes even 3. So do you really think Wave 6 would leave out a good last impression, with its only fan favorite being Wii Rainbow Road? Also, as for why this is its placement, every single time a cup ends with a Nitro track, the third one is always, and I mean always, either a huge fan favorite or a hype track. Another advantage is that it was a much newer rendered tour course, And by rendered I do not mean when it released. I meant when it was created. DK Mountain had a late render in Mario Kart Tour. And a lot of courses in the later waves are from late renders. In fact, look at this. Moonview Highway replaced a Nitro, which was one of the later rendered courses. To be specific, it was on the 26th of October 2022. Same goes with Daisy Circuit, which render date was only 2 days before. This goes for a lot of other courses, such as the Cities, Nitros, DS Mario Circuit, Piranha Plant Cove 3, and more. DK Mountain's render date is the 24th of February 2022, compared to Dino Dino Jungle's measly March 16th of 2019. Do you think they're putting a 4.5-year course this late? Visually, DK Mountain has also had a glow-up compared to Dino Jungle being a straight port from 7. For further proof about render dates, look at, for example, Maple Tree Way. That course was rendered in 2020 and got moved to Wave 3. Now yes, it probably got moved because of Moonview, yeah, but it still got moved. The two city tracks coming to Wave 6 render dates for their first variants are November 2022 and September 2022, so those are basically all the points to DK Mountain. As for its CNSW, I predict it to be 56, which I know is wild, but hear me out. I am simplifying this explanation cause I don't want it too long. Now look at Cruiser. That was CNSW 46, with how ambitious its atmosphere is. So do you think that a track with literally 3 turns? With a shortcut that does not even work in 8 Deluxe even with the right scaling? No, I'm not kidding. With some traffic and a very tight bridge, which is still optional, worthy of being in the penultimate wave next to the penultimate track. That penultimate track being this. And think about it, if they're moving half of Wave 5 to the final wave, and half of the final wave to Wave 5, would they not move the original Wave 5 tracks, which were the most ambitious? Assuming 56 was bridge, why on earth would they move it to Wave 6? And assuming it was bridge, but got replaced, why even have it planned when it was a perfectly fine track besides the fact of this shortcut? Now you may be wondering, what I think is 66, and I think that is Dino Dino Jungle. But it got replaced by Daisy Circuit. Firstly, it's split with DK Mountain wave-wise, so it isn't impossible. You may be thinking, this is hypocritical since I said before why they would put a 4.5-year course in Wave 6, however Maple Treeway was also in this wave, a 2020 course. Assuming we're talking about render dates, forget about the original booster course pass. As for the reason they replaced it, it could be because they wouldn't know how to function Noshi properly, and the visuals feeling too underwhelming, or they didn't want to work on them that much for Wave 6. Anyways, that's it for DK Mountain, and it is time to move on to the final Acorn Cup track. Now for the final Acorn Cup track. What I am 100% positive on is that the Acorn Cup will end with a Nitro track. The remaining prefix leak has 2 Nitros left. And would you look at that, so does Tour, Piranha Plant Cove, and Pipeline? No, I do not believe one of them is being cut. As I said before, the whole point of the pass is preserving Tour Nitros. Plus Pipeline has a way different name in Japanese, that being Pipe Canyon. Also, if Nintendo cared so much, they would easily just put Pipeline in Wave 5 and Squeaky Clean Sprint in Wave 6. Now for the first option. I mean, well, there's literally 2 options, and I said it was a Nitro. For the first option, it is Piranha Plant Cove. This is one of the more unique Nitro tracks in Mario Kart Tour. At first, it may just seem like a boring cavern with water, but then you realize that it has 3 variants, like a city track, which could make Nintendo think it is more viable to end the Acorn Cup, and it won't end the Spiny Cup because, you know what I'm not even explaining. Although having relaxing music, it could have an amazing arrangement in 8 Deluxe, which therefore would fit the Spiny Cup, combined with the fact it's the most unique of all Nitros gameplay-wise. But then, there is the other option, in leaning towards more for the Acorn Cup, Piranha Plant Pipeline. Now this may seem odd. Cove functions like a city, which means it should only end a cup. But you see, that's the only excuse most people have. Pipeline is a course which looks boring at first, but after has tons of ambitious elements such as half-pipes, split paths, colors, fuzzies, but most importantly huge anti-gravity potential. Now you may think that I described so many ambitious elements, so why did I not have this in the Spiny Cup? Well, for one, as I was talking about with Rome, Nintendo focuses on their presentation. And yes, this is ambitious, which is why I have this as a 4th track and not a 3rd. But then, there's one more piece of evidence I have which supports Pipeline ending the Acorn. Anti-gravity and half-pipe distribution. For context, let's look at the past waves and how they have splitted anti-gravity and half-pipes. I will not count half-pipes as anti-gravity. Now it's all somewhat balanced for what it is, but assuming Cove and DK Mountain are in the Acorn Cup would have a single half-pipe track with no, or 1 anti-gravity track, assuming DK Mountain gets it, compared to 2 tracks with half-pipes and 3 with anti-gravity. Looking at how the past waves organized it, this is very unbalanced. Anyways, as for its CNSW, I think it was originally 67. I'm talking about Pipeline. Nintendo originally probably went, since Cove functions like a city, it ends the cup since the original plan pass is basically a basis, but after looking at Pipeline and Cove carefully, they changed it. Anyways, here is a recap of the Acorn Cup, Rome, Daisy Circuit, DK Mountain, and Pipeline, and let us now move on to the Spiny Cup. Now for the first track of the Spiny Cup, it is obviously going to be a tour city. And would you look at that, we have one city left, coincidentally one left in tour? Yeah, it's Madrid Drive. Considering I have basically already talked about why I placed Madrid here with Rome, I don't know what to say. I will say that for my route prediction. I am also leaning towards normal 3 a bit, so there's that. Okay, you get the point. I have nothing to talk about, so let's move on to the next track. For the second track, we now only have 3 options left. CNSW 57, which I said before, but shut up, because for the second track of the Spiny Cup, we have Sans Bowser Castle 3. Now Sans Bowser Castle 3 is the only revamped Sans track in all of Mario Kart history so far. And considering there is one Sans prefix left, that being the penultimate track of the penultimate wave, it would have to be ambitious with how late, and especially being a 3rd track. And in all of this time, I am not even kidding, you would finish a whole lap of Vanilla Lake to Tour, which was only like 20 seconds. Considering the 8 deluxe tracks are normally 15% faster than Tour, that would mean a whole lap of Vanilla Lake to Deluxe would be around 17 seconds. Combine that with the fact you do 3 laps in 8 Deluxe means on average, it would take 51 seconds in 8 Deluxe, which is even shorter than literal Baby Park. Vanilla Lake 1 is not any better. In fact, it's next to the same. And you guys are telling me we will only have a single RMX in the pass? Anyways, as for why Bowser Castle 3 is here, with how complicated it looks, in reality, it is pretty short and easy. Now yes, it's a Bowser Castle, but compared to others, it is certainly an easy one. As for the CNSW, well, there is only one spot for it, 57. Anyways, it's time for the penultimate of the Spiny Cup. For the 95th track in the game, the penultimate of Wave 6, penultimate of the whole game, penultimate of the Spiny, penultimate of the yeah, you get it. Now we have to CNSWS left for us to place here. Number 1 is CNSW 64, and number 2 is 68. As for the one I'm choosing, it is going to basically have to be 64, Piranha Plant Cove. Now just like Madrid, I have next to nothing to talk about this, considering once again, like Madrid, I have already talked about it with Pipeline, except for its route, in which I predict 1, 2, and 3. The reason I did not choose 68 for this is for obvious reasons, and since I have nothing to talk about, let us move on to it. For the final track of the whole game, we need the most ambitious of them all. We have a single CNSW left, which out of most of the CNSWS, has remained here even after all the speculation. 68 is a Wii track, and we have to Wii tracks in Tour. Yeah, it's Wii Rainbow Road. What were you expecting? Daisy Circuit coming in does not affect Wii Rainbow Road in the slightest, and neither does Moonview. How is Wii Rainbow Road impossible solely for the fact Moonview Highway exists, when that is not even 68? And for Daisy Circuit, as I was talking about, would they end the whole game with a U-turn with some cut to roundabouts, some turns, and a big U-turn? Once again, it is not like they couldn't have swapped Daisy Circuit and 3D's Rainbow Road since Wave 3 did not even have a Wii track in not just the Moon Cup, but the whole wave. You can't tell me without laughing that they ended Wave 3 with this, and ended Wave 6 with this. Having 2 Wiis in Wave 6 does not matter when Wave 5 had 2, and Wave 3 had to 3DS. Nintendo does not care about how much a game is represented when in Wii including retros. There has always been 2 a wave besides Wave 1, and for 3D's 2 waves, even had 3 of them. Wii Rainbow Road has the most effort out of any other Tour remake, and you have to accept it's coming. No other track makes sense, and no other track can come because of this. Anyways, there is not really much to talk about now, so we'll give a brief summary. For a secret thing, I do not really expect anything. Maybe new card parts, but I'm not sure about it. I mean, if they are porting characters, might as well port some parts. And for how the character screen is organized, I predict Peachhead takes Cat Peach spot, and Pauline takes Tanuki Mario's, and those to combine with their original form, mainly because of this. Anyways, that is the whole video. Do you agree with my predictions, or do you not? Comment yours in the comment section below. Anyways, that's all, and go play Mario Kart.